Hi everyone, this is Yogesh, a voice artist from Chennai. I'm really happy and excited to be a part of this 12th anniversary meet here at TCS. Great going. Thank you, Ramya, for calling me or inviting me for this meet. I would not be able to be there right now because I had other engagement as well. Okay. And I'm really excited to be a part of this 12th anniversary meet at TCS, as I mentioned earlier. And though I was not able to come there personally to meet you all, it's going to be a wonderful session with you all, I guess. And without much delay, let's get into the topic today that I'm going to discuss is like what are the kinds of voice modulation and finding your best voice at your office. See, God's given gift is voice for everyone. I have chosen the genre of getting into voiceover for my business. And there are singers, there are dubbing artists, there are people like you who are daily communicating with your teammates, your colleagues, your boss, and whatever. You have presentations, you have meetings, you have morning routines. You take care of so much of things, and ultimately, we all talk a lot. We being a consumer, we be a customer. Talking is a great skill that humans have, unlike animals, I would say. So, what are the kind of features that we need to enhance our skill set in having an effective communication and better understand what the opponent or your colleague or your peers have in their mind to talk to you or discuss or present to you about a topic, maybe a product, or about a scenario or a case study or a troubleshooting techniques, whatever it may be. It all comes into communication. Why is this communication so important to us? See, in communication, we have the diction, we have vocabulary, we have comprehension, we have intonation, we have the pitch, the tone, the modulation. Lot of things are there which enhances your presentation for a wonderful speech of yours. So, how to groom all these things? I, being in this industry for the last 15 years or more than that, before that, let me introduce you myself. As I mentioned, my name is Yogesh. I'm totally into voiceover. I had been into corporate segment earlier as a client relation manager in an e-publishing company much before recession. And after recession in 2007-8, I guess, I picked up this genre of getting into voiceover and started doing voiceovers for all clients pan India, especially in English. I should say, thanks to my wonderful teachers at Vanamani Matriculation IIT Madras, who taught wonderful English. And that is the only thing which has stuck on to me, like that's even sticking to me even on a daily basis. For a seamless communication and for effective listening and for proper coordination and proper understanding, English is a major tool. It's a neutral language that everybody in the world understands. So how effective are we going to communicate with each other? And how wonderful are we going to talk among each other to convey our thoughts, to convey our visions or our missions into goal setting targets? Without much delay, let's get on to the session. I hope it might be a wonderful session for you. I hope it's going to be useful to you. Let me tell you what exactly is voice modulation. A voice modulation is crucial in effective communication, I would say, especially in a professional setting like in an office. It can either make or even break your message when it's received by your colleagues and boss. I'll give a brief overview and some examples so that you understand it more clearly. And the importance of voice modulation. It conveys confidence and authority. It grabs attention and engages your listeners. It communicates emotions and empathy. It enhances clarity and understanding. Effective communication also builds trust and credibility. That's more important. How do you find your voice? Identifying your natural tone. We are all not pretending to talk in an artificial tone. Of course, in modulation, it comes to voice genres. We modulate for trailers, promos, animations, explainer videos, cartoons, advertisements, documentaries, whatsoever. We try to modulate and talk effectively on a unnatural tone, but still keep our tonality natural. That's how the industry has set the metrics so that people know what is a presentation. So, how do you find your best voice at your office? Maybe when you talk with your peers, your colleagues, your teammates, and whatever. How do you communicate effectively? How do you find out which is your best voice? See, everybody talks on a natural way, unlike a presentation or a documentary, or maybe in a video, or maybe in a explainer video, or maybe in a conversation, or maybe in a cartoon animations, presentations, documentaries. We tend to change and modulate our voice. That is necessary because the industry has set a standard so that when you watch a star movie, you would know how it is. When you watch an AXN, you know how it is. You know, documentary, how it has been spoken, how it has been conveyed to audiences or the listeners. But that kind of false tone can't be put inside an office. Office have to be natural. So we are all natural. And we're not trying to copy each other's slang, diction, style, modulation, nothing like that. We have our own tonality and we have our own diction. We know ourselves to comprehend, to paraphrase words, to talk aloud, to talk slowly, to talk in a husky way, to talk secrets, to smile. We know the genres, we know the modulation, we know the techniques, how it has been done. So, how do we do this in the office? So, identifying your natural tone and the pitch that is engraved in your voice tone or your on your vocal cords. So, practicing various tone and pitch and volume. So, the length and breadth or the size or the size. I mean, when I mean the size, I mean like the loudness or the kind of pitch that you variate inside a voice. So maybe you can record yourself and analyze how you sound and play that to your friend and say that, how do I sound this? How do I do this? How do I present this? Is it sounding natural? Is it artificial? What kind of techniques that I need to improve? Does it sound professional? Do I have to change or do I have to enhance more? Take a positive feedback from your friend, a genuine friend. Don't allow your friends to mock at you saying that jobless, forget about all these things. You're a crap, don't do this. Never go and talk to such kind of people because they are giving their piece of suggestions and demotivating you. Never get demotivated. That's something which is very important for everybody to upskill their knowledge about your communication, your talking skills, your skill set in your effective way of talking or communicating with your peers. So never get demotivated with any people who say that you're wrong, you could be better. Maybe you take suggestions. Then but you will know the pulse of the conversation. If that is going to be a mocking session or if somebody is going to say that this is not good, maybe you can try. See, negative feedbacks are stepping stones to success. I would say that. So as I was saying you, finding your voice yourself is a great task at office. Sometimes you might be low, sometimes you might be so brisky, enthusiastic, or on a cloud nine level. You'll be very happy. Maybe it's your birthday and your boss is giving some kind of task for you, and you want to be having a leisure time, have chit chat with your friends, want to have to maybe you want to have a cup of coffee with your friends at canteen or the cafeteria, or would like to treat people and have a joyful time in your office, but you would not know what is being designed for you on that day. You might be having a hectic task to do, but still your mind gets out of your frame so that you get tensed, you get stressed out. And maybe when you try to talk something, you may fumble, you may get irritated because all that's set in your mind. So forget about all these things and be natural. Find your best way of talking to your peers in a very, very natural way. And I'll say some examples like, so when you introduce yourself to a team or maybe with your peers, maybe when you do an induction or maybe when you see a set of newbies joining, be very strong and have a clear tone and grab the attention. For example, you say, good morning, people. Hope you have a wonderful day. And today we're going to see some important glimpses on the topics that's going to be tough for us so that we break down the analytical, identical part of that and understand how to go about it. Maybe you have a fresh set of people or maybe people for induction and those kind of people. So grab the attention, have a clear tone, be precise and take that in a very enthusiastic tone. The second point I would like to say is talk like you tell a story. It could be like a storytelling conversation to engage your audience. See, talking stories and listening is always wonderful, you see, because people would like to admire what you tell next, because everything has some kind of related examples and you talk in a very conversational tone. So all those things grabs the attention of your people. So engage like a storytelling. You can engage your points in bullet points, saying like a storytelling conversation, and make yourself comfortable talking in a very casual way. That's what I mean here. And emphasizing a point. Maybe you have some 5 points to enhance or be narrative or talk in detail. So empathetically or the importance of that point have to be um, gone through like it. So the importance of that point has to be said to the listeners so that who understands what next is going to happen. So those key points, emphasizing on the key features of what your meeting is about is important. And raise your voice slightly. Maybe you say, and when I say like um, when I say last year report was like this, and this year we have much of a deviation, so it's not like being rude, but still you can raise your voice to empathize the importance of last year's report to with this report. So raise your tone slightly and show the enthusiasm that you have, and be convictional. And maybe you can say this is a crucial aspect of our project, and please listen carefully. You understand what I mean, right? The importance of that particular keywords like has to be emphasized. Maybe there's a complex scenario or an information or a tough thing for people to understand that. So in that case, have a calm, clear tone to promote your ideas, to promote your level of understanding so that it reaches to your people, your folks, your teammates. And maybe you can say, let me break it down in a simpler way, or let me give some examples, and that would make you understand more easily. In case of any doubt, you can cross question me at the end of the meeting. Maybe cross questioning in between also if you're very powerful and stopping our conversation and interacting with that. And interactive mode always wins actually. So that you engage people and they are narrative, they ask question, more like a Q&A session. So the meeting happens with a vibe. So that will be for people like in a senior position, they would like to tell the content first and then give allow time for people to raise questions. That is another form of agenda, which if you feel that is good, you can practice. When you do a kind of presentation at office, maybe in a conference room or maybe in a public place or in a dais, when you announce something, when you have kind of uh, material to discuss or promote or showcase what's there in your mind through a kind of PPT or a presentation. So have those kind of things well in advance. Prepare that earlier, mark it up, or maybe you can discuss with your close peer who's going to be a partner with you, or maybe a very good friend of yours, so that when you talk to him or her, she would give her inputs. Maybe this line can be changed, this is more important, that is irrelevant, this is more relevant. So what I meant here was like a discussion pattern, or maybe a kind of interrogation kind of meetings. Sometimes that really works out, like because you would not know what kind of questions that your teammates or your listeners have, and that keynote points would be more elaborate or more informative to others when you discuss on spot, or rather than carrying later and discussing it in a period of time which is maybe a couple of days later or maybe sometimes away from the meeting time. And to do all these things, have a kind of practice, which means that if you are able to do something on your own, maybe in front of a mirror or maybe in front of your parents, your brother, your sibling, your close peer, your friend, your neighbor, anybody, your husband, your wife, anybody. If at all you have something very important to go and discuss at office, just say that I have something very pretty to discuss today at office. I'm feeling a little dizzy, or maybe I'm getting stuck. And it's going to be a nerve-wracking situation for me today. Just listen to this and ask your father, mother, brother, sister, neighbor, anybody to just listen. The glimpse of your minutes, the glimpse of your points, the key features that you want to discuss at office. See that a way you want to discuss and prepare yourself so that you don't fumble in the office stage, so that you don't fumble at office in front of a crowd. And people get nervous. So the fear factor in you will always be disturbing. Never have fear. Fear is a dangerous factor. I should not say dangerous, it is just a small prominent thing which will always poke its nose so that it disturbs your mindset. Even though well prepared, you must be knowing. We all have done a lot of extempos in schools and colleges. We would have prepared a lot and would have rehearsed well. So when we went and stood on the stage, that's all. You get this kind of shivering and you feel that I will not be able to do. I will not justify this. I'm fearful. That palpitation, all these things will come to your mind. Just relax, have a glass of water, talk to your friends, talk a different topic, and have those key points as bullet points in your fingertips so that you go seamless one by one, step by step, so that everybody gives an applaud for you and they welcome your speech, they listen carefully, they understand so that you are confident in delivering what you have in mind to them. It's all about your perception. And the other way is to record yourself and understand how well you speak and how good is your voice. Modulate, empathize, do a recap, or maybe do a brainstorming session. Do all these gimmicks and try to record yourself and listen to yourself. Because unlike you, don't be the best critic, I would say. Because if you are your own critic and if you trust in your conscience that this is not good, you will do definitely better next time. So you record yourself. Maybe you want to talk for 5 minutes, record that content for 5 minutes and listen to yourself where you need to empathize, where you need to stress yourself, where you need to be elaborative, where you need to cut short, and where you have to empathize and all the stuffs you can understand, where you have to stress on the keywords, which is important, which is less important, which is relevant, which is irrelevant. All these things you can focus when you listen to your voice. Because when we talk in front of the crowd, and there are things which comes directly from our mind, which is going to be on the flow to the people that listen. So when you download things from your mind and deliver, it's going to be a seamless conversation. There might be kind of a fumbling or maybe misinterpretation or miscommunication sometimes. Point 3 would come to point 1, coinciding. Point 5 and point 7 will not be coinciding. Of course, it'll be like uh, of course it's going to be like a set of points which is being given to the people in a different manner or maybe in a jumbled way. So when you have a key points to discuss with your people, make sure that you understand it well. You rehearse yourself, talk to your people, do a kind of storytelling, have a conversational tone, modulate, empathize, raise your volume, and all these buttons, this intonation, pitch, volume, comprehension, vocabulary, pronunciation, your diction, all those things matters for a wonderful, clear-cut presentation. That's important. Now that we've seen how to present yourself and what are the methods to do that and what kind of uh, practices that are needed. So first thing is when you do a presentation, when you want to talk something to your people in your office, don't prejudge people and don't think that what you say is going to be absolutely right and what you have prepared is 100% correct. There might be kind of people who might say that this is wrong, this is not good, this is away from the topic. So the pros and cons on that has to be analyzed. So keep your mind open. That's what I mean to tell here. So keep your mind open and make sure that whatever inputs or feedbacks which are coming have to be taken inside, observed, broken down, and analyzed that thoroughly so that people are having a good understanding on your delivery of your conversation or whatever topics that you have to talk to your people. And on top of it, you'll have to be deep, good, authoritative because you cannot be like, I would not say funny. And of course, fun is also required in between your presentation when you have a conversation with your boss, your peers, your teammates, whatever it is. Fun part is just one element. So I was talking about the methods of practices that you'd need to be yourself clear in a presentation or in your conversation, in a meeting, or maybe when you talk with your peer, your teammates, your boss, whatever. So your communication is more effective and well accepted. So beginning, point number 1 is be an active listener. When you actively listen to people and pay attention to the speaker and ask clarifying questions, that will be more interactive for you because you will understand what to ask or what not to ask, and the understanding level of the key points are more enhanced. Like because uh, when there is a small kind of doubt or a glitch that you have, which you're not able to understand, or maybe you have a technical problem to go ahead or move ahead, you get stuck over there. Maybe then and there you can clear that while on the conversation, or maybe if you are not able to understand, you can maybe if you're hesitant, you can write a mail to them and ask them for clarity. Or if you're spontaneous, go ahead, shoot a question and clarify your doubts and use your clear and concise language. Do not go roundabout. Do not ask a question indirectly. Ask a straightforward question and avoid jargons, multiple repetitive of words and complex words. So these are all kinds which you need to think about before you ask a question or before you present yourself. Like that's again important. And non-verbal communication. Which means body gestures or your eye contacts and the language or the facial expressions that you do. All these things matters for to focus attention and to create a vibe on the crowd that you talk to or the people that you manage. And beware of the cultural differences because when you talk, there'll be multiple kind of people with varied thoughts, with innovative minds, with sarcasm, whatever, and you have to be open for cultural differences because we're all humans out of one big bouquet but still with multiple thoughts and varied mindsets. So everybody's point is unique and everybody has a critical thinking. So the common misjudgments that we do is assumption. We assume we understand that the other person has already understood. That's the point. That's the mistake that we do, including me. When I communicate something, I feel that I have done my job. Whether they have understood that or not, it's not my job. I think sometimes that's actually rude. That actually not good because once or twice you can enhance your points and ask them whether this is right or wrong, whether they have understood that. And maybe you can probe them and ask them if this is clear so that if it is conciseful or maybe it's or good so that you can repeat that or maybe you can enhance it or elaborate more clearly. And so assuming understanding of the person or assumption of the opposite person. So assumption of the opposite person is something which you need to think over and do not prejudge a person. And ignoring non-verbal cues like so failing to recognize body language and tone. For example, when you're in a presentation, somebody would say like this, that might be a disturbance for you, maybe on the dais, or maybe you would say, wait, I'll just come back. See, at that point of time, that person would have some point of conversation to discuss with you. If you're trying to switch off, if you're trying to ignore and put it later, that question will be null and void, which means that you can always stop and again proceed so that you answer the person and go from where you left behind. That's going to be an interactive session kind because that person also is clear and you can also proceed from where you left. If you just hold the person, that question, the person who's going to ask the question will forget it or might not be remembering or maybe ask another alternate question, forgetting about what to ask. So in case of meetings happening, in case of people are stopping in between for something like they're raising hands and say, excuse me. So if you're feeling comfortable, go ahead, answer that. And so I said, failing to recognize body language and thing is something which you need to address to. And as I mentioned earlier, the cultural misinterpretation, like people from varied community, people from varied region, religion, all people are there at office and we need to give equal importance to everybody. We're all, end of the day, humans working for an employer as an employee. That's all. End of the day, he makes his business, you get your salary and you're happy. He makes himself happy by employing you. You are an employee and you make him happy by working hard with him. That's how an office goes. And what are the pros of voice modulation like? So when you engage your audience, you get applauded, you convey confidently, you're authoritative, you're enhancive, you're very clear, and you're building trust on top of it. You're building trust with everybody, and you're gaining respect and regards. You're appreciated, and you are creating an emotional bondage or a connection or a friendly tone with your peers. And on the negative side, you might be overdoing sometimes. Why would be overdue? Because you might be overconfident and you want to deliver 15 points in 5 minutes with all a nutshell packaged slot like so that you go fast and make sure that you are finishing it, not making sure that the opponent is understanding or you just finish your job, you're clear, your job is done, and maybe you're not focused on others so that they ask you something and you fail to listen to them. So when I mean the cons or when I say the pros and cons, the negative aspects of voice modulation or finding your best voice at office, there are some negative aspects on that as well because sometimes you might be boring. Believe me, sometimes over talking, sometimes chit chatting, sometimes over talking, sometimes overdoing might not be well received by people. They might say, "Oh, this guy is a chatterbox. He talks a lot. I don't want to listen to him." Right? So maybe overdoing is something which you need to work out. Coming across some kind of insincere conversations, or maybe not a kind of an artificial way of communicating, maybe more dramatic. You can avoid all those things. And lack of authenticity. Trying to fake a tone or maybe doing somebody's style, and maybe you're saying that this is what I am when I'm on the dais, when I'm on the meeting, when I convince people. I have an artificial way of presenting myself. That would never work. So be yourself natural, be yourself casual, be yourself conversational. Maybe you can be emotional, maybe you can be authoritative. It all depends upon the content and the kind of crowd that you have. So authenticity is something which is important. And never get distracted in the presentation or at office when you're having a meeting, when you deliver something or when you learn something, because it might be a leadership program, it could be a time management program, it could be a stress management, it could be a daily routine meetings, or it could be an induction, whatever it is. Just pay attention, never get distracted. Every distraction will lead to something else, which you will not be able to gain it after. So, concentrate and never get distracted. Whatever is the gyan about, please listen. There might be 10% of information that might be relevant to you so that your brain takes into and automatically you get inculcated on those aspects, or you get motivated, or that key points which you have in your mind, or the key point which has been discussed at office or in your meetings or by your boss, whoever it is. Those things which get in your mind will be very good for your tomorrow's work, which is in the long run. You might think about it. See, we all have come across a lot of things which our grandmas and grandpas have told. At age of 40, 50, 60, and when we mature, see, teenage is different from 30s and 40s and 50s and your early 50s or 60s, whatever. But still, you have sweet moments, nostalgic thoughts about your parents, your siblings, your grandparents, certain things which you never ever forget from your mindset. So those are all things, like it could be from your boss too, it could be from your colleague too, it could be from your friend who would say in a very casual way, and that would spark in your mind saying, "Oh, come on, what is this? So good, man," you would say. So those kind of things, now be prepared, have an open mind to accept everything and present yourself in a positive way. To be more effective, you can as well do some breathing exercises. Inhale, exhale, count from 1 to 10, stop your breathe. I mean, don't stop your breathe in the sense. To be more enhancer, do some breathing exercises like inhale, exhale, and maybe you can count from 1 to 10, hold your breath, count 1 to 10, and go a reverse counting. And make sure that your lungs have maximum air so that you talk seamlessly and have a loud and clear voice. And hydrate yourself. Drink water when you feel that you need to quench your thirst. Please have a cup of water. For some people, it will be a hot cup of tea or a coffee. Go ahead, do it. Nothing wrong. And on the presentation, make sure that your voice never gets dry. Moist yourself, hydrate yourself, and feel free and be comfortable most effectively. And using your appropriate pitch, volume, and tone also matters. Never raise too much and talk slowly. Have a mid pace and do not be very fast in communicating. Do not be very fast in delivering your conversation to finish it early. And make sure that you have a calm and a pretty good, decent voice. Your diction, your pitch, your volume, your tempo has to be consistent from the first minute till the nth minute of your presentation or your conversation in a meeting. Maybe it could be anywhere. It could be even a team meeting outside. It could be in a theater. It could be in a restaurant. It could be in an office conference room. Be clear and precise of whatever you say. Never be too loud or never overdo something, and take care of your voice through all the small exercises that I've told you. And remember, effective communication is a key to success in life, at office, at home, everywhere. By practicing clear communication, being aware of potential misjudgments or underestimating people's choice, developing a strong skill set, being authoritative, and being more confident, I'm sure certainly you'll be a wonderful speaker at office. And I'll also give you some more important tips and so that how to interact, evolve, and more inspire others. See, when I say how to interact, evolve, or inspire others, improving your vocal technique is something which is very important. And maybe you have some kind of workshops you can just go and attend and find the way of conversations or the kind of practices that they do inside the workshop. And as I mentioned, you can attend workshops, understand the metrics and nuances in voice modulation, how to enhance your communication, all this stuff. There are lots of classes which is happening and people are taking around and lots of online things are there. You just get into some kind of Udemy classes or maybe something that which will give you some extra inputs about your way of communication and working on your skill sets of your time management or your presentation skills or your modulation techniques, whatever. And improving your vocal techniques is something like you have to improve your vocal quality of your voice. For people who are singing, they do sadhanas in the early morning. Likewise, when you have something to do, a presentation, you can do it in the morning. Maybe you don't have time. And those kind of presentations or meetings can be in the morning because morning you'll be brisky, you'll be enthusiastic, you'll be dynamic, and you'll have all the energy in you. And evening, of course, you get worn out, you get tired, you get fed up, you get stressed, whatever. At that point of time, when you have a meeting to do something or talk to people or do a presentation, you might be a little kind of panicked or maybe you get a little chaotic. Like, so don't bother about all these things. Prepare yourself. A 5 minutes, 10 minutes relaxation is even more good before a presentation. Forget about all the happenings. Maybe you're having a hard day, maybe a tiring time, whatever. Just 5 minutes relaxation and a cup of water, maybe tea or something, will relax and soothe your throat so that you will do a powerful presentation. Believe me. And make sure that the previous day you have a good sleep so that you don't have a strain and maybe you had a party, shouting, all those things come down. You are calming down yourself. Have a good sleep before you do something important the next day. On top of it, your business skills also is important because you need to be able to manage and negotiate contracts and talk with your delegates. You need to put your services in the market effectively. You need to understand the business side of the industry and be able to communicate and build a sustainable career in your office. So your intonation, your pronunciation, your articulation, all these things matters. Your comprehension, the words that you put into your vocabulary and all these things and the kind of pitch and the volume, all is important. For doing all these things, you need to have a good voice, right? So voice carrying is important. How do you carry your voice? Take care of your voice. Stay hydrated. Avoid caffeine much and alcohol, maybe smoking. You can avoid all those things and have an effective voice. And most importantly, have voice rest. The previous day, as I mentioned, you will have to have a very calm night. You will have to sleep well and stay hydrated so that nothing gets disturbed in the next day morning. And maybe you can practice some tongue twisters and breathing exercises to be having a control on your diction and listen others, see people, observe feedbacks and talk to people, say how it is and get some feedbacks and change over things. And some kind of modulations and techniques that you need to do is like you can work on your pitch, your inflections and all those kind of styles. In case you have any doubts, you can always cross check pronunciation.com websites and make sure that your content is clear, precise, and engaging. You can also practice your syllables clearly and your consonants, all these things also could be practiced because those are all available in YouTube and you can just go ahead talk. And as long as you talk continuously and frequently with people in the language that you prefer, maybe English, Tamil, Hindi, Telugu, whatever, you can go on a seamless way of communicating. And English is a neutral language in all offices. So we stick on to that language because we get to meet a lot of people. We have a lot of meetings. We have a lot of discussions. So English is something very, very important. And we speak very good neutral English. So adopt your style and have a good modulation technique. Make sure that your voice tone is clear, precise, and engaging. As I mentioned again and again, you have to, because that's your tool. You might have n number of things in your mind. How do you convey? How do you be authoritative? How do you tell? Your gestures, your movement, your capability, everything matters on your style of communicating. So that's more important. You need not be a boss for that. Or if you try to communicate with your friends, colleagues, peers, your delegates, your teammates, your boss, everybody, you are the boss because you know what to do, you know how to do, you know when to do. The ifs and buts and when and where, if all these things, if it's covered, you know, and you are in the right place. So communication is a vital key tool in any organization. And if you're going to soar high and if you want to aim high and if you're going to seek more promotions and if you want to be highlighted, if you want to have that kind of niche crowd, or if you feel that I have the potential, I should show myself in one step above. I have to go to the next level. If that's going to be your target, improve your communication style. It's not so hard. See, when you want to improve yourself, the basic things that we all started from the beginning is watching TV, talking to people, understanding others, listening to people, and reading newspapers, communicating with your neighbors, talking to teachers, friends, your peers, maybe your everybody, right? Everybody we start talking, right? So when we watch all those things, and for example, when I started watching, if I want to become a voice artist and if I want to do something good in the market, what would I do? That was my first question. So I started watching movies. I started watching YouTube channels. I started watching documentaries. So all these things kind of the language, the interpretation, the communication style, the gestures, all these things have captured my mind. So what if I was that person? So what if I was watching for that documentary? What if I was doing that? What if that advertisement has my voice? That was a challenge which I interpreted myself to learn my skill set. You can also do that. When I can do, can't you do it? And talking aloud and reading skills is also important because when you read, several factors can make it difficult to sound natural. For example, in natural conversation, we speak from our mind and therefore our words flow from our mind naturally. And in case you have a text or you have a slide to do, you see and talk, right? So you interpret words in between, you see the next paragraph, you see the next content, and you have key points to discuss, you want to elaborate. All these things might be confusing to you. So go on a step-by-step way so that you are delivering a clear speech and very precisely sticking to your point so that you don't miss anything and you make sure that everybody understands what you have to deliver to others. Another key point is when you are passionate in what you do, you put in your extra time and efforts. That's very important, right? So when you want to improve yourself, you have these three components, like you have to be competent, you have to be confident, and you have to be clear. So all these things matters for an effective communication. Wherever you are, all these three factors are important. Your confidence, your competence, your clarity of speech for an effective communication. And be conscious about your tonality, your modulation, your style, your delivery, your diction, your vocabulary. All this also matters. Do not rush through your presentation or your meetings in a very fast way. Maybe you're busy, you have multiple things to do at the end of the day, but still be very, very have a kind of decent tempo. I would say like an average kind of speed or mid pace, so that everybody are listening to you and understanding you. And another point is like people would move and talk. Few people would sit and talk. Few people would stand and talk. So there are varied kind of people, right? When you do a presentation, when you have something to narrate to somebody, few people would always want to walk and they want to address the entire place and come back to a position and discuss. Few people would stand erect and maybe they want to discuss or deliver the speech at one shot in a single moment or maybe in that particular place. And few would really, really be interactive, and few would have a wide variety of body gestures just to be attractive to the crowd. Whatever you do, whatever kind of patterns that you do, make sure that your tone, your kind of clarity is very good because you don't need to go repeat again and again if your tone is not competing or maybe it's not helping you much. And during presentation, do not yarn because sometimes you might be getting a sleepy mode or maybe you're getting a yarn sensation. Do not do that. Or maybe if you get that, just turn around and do the yarning part and come back so that others don't mock at you, others don't say that he's sleepy and he's trying to yarn that side. And never get those. Even you get those kind of comments also, just don't bother. It's natural. And do not yarn in front of people. And to have a clear cut, nice, niche, beautiful, handsome, spectacular, wonderful, powerful voice, just take this technique. The best way to have a beautiful, powerful, clear tone is have some garlic in the hot turmeric milk and consume it in a day, maybe in the night time before you sleep, so that in the morning your voice is brittle and very powerful. So having garlic with turmeric milk with some pepper, that also would be good. So that would really, really be useful to you. Have a wonderful, nice, brittle, dynamic voice in the morning. Another one is salt water gargling. If you want to have a kind of clear voice again, and if that's not available, maybe you don't have pepper, you don't have turmeric, have some kind of salt and boil that in a lukewarm water. Gargle that with a pinch of turmeric if you have, and gargle that in your throat in the morning after you brush your teeth so that your voice and your vocal cords get even more soothed, and it's soother, it's clear, and all the air molecules, all the kind of small nodules or kind of knots or kind of disturbances that you have will all get eradicated. It will just go off like a magic. It would work. Believe me, those kind of things that if you have at home, you can do, and honey and lukewarm water. All these things creates magic. So if you're tending to read, so if you're tending to go ahead with cold drinks and hot coffee, make sure that that's suiting you so that your voice doesn't get disturbed. And the other part is if you feel that your voice is getting hoarse or raspy and maybe cracks after you talk for some time, you'll have to drink water again and you have to take all this kind of treatment with hot turmeric milk with pepper, with garlic. That really soothes your throat. And salt water gargling also does wonders. And still, if you have kind of bad throat, maybe because of flu or cold or maybe seasonal discomfort, just go to some doctor, get it treated, have some lozenges so that it soothes your throat. Eat lots of vegetables and stay away from deep fried items so that your vocal cord doesn't get disturbed. I'm sure this session would have been wonderful to you. I think I've taken a lot of time. I'm really sorry about that. And see, voice is a magic, and voice everybody has. God's given gift is voice. You have, I have. I'm making use of it through my voiceover, and I earn my revenue. See, you're all working in a wonderful office. How best you can work, how best you can improve your skill set. From the day one, from your LKG, you've been learning English. How best to put your words, how well to communicate, how to have a strong verbal skill set. Improve yourself. Watch YouTube, watch movies, talk to people, communicate well, understand the metrics and nuances in the market, feel yourself good, be positive, never be so lagging, never feel depressed, be motivated, have a strong vibe with each other, make sure that you can do it, believe in your voice, be confident that you are the best and you can do the best and you will do the best, obviously, isn't it? So, thanks for your wonderful time, people. I hope I didn't take much of your time, and it's time to come down and it's time to cover up all these things. Hope you had a good kind of conversation with me. Not a conversation, you've been listening to me so patiently. I'm so happy that if even 5 to 10% of my information reaches your mind, that's going to be useful to you tomorrow, day after, maybe in the long run, I would not know. So all things lies in you. Effective way of communication is very, very powerful, be it from office, be it at your home, wherever. Be yourself the king. Be yourself the kingmaker. You can do it. When I can do it, you can do it. See, I've taken up this profession as a voice industry. You're all working in a wonderful office. So you have a big team. You have a lot of things to discuss. You have a lot of meetings. How well you present yourself. How do you carry yourself? Be very confident. Stay positive and learn something which is new every day and pronounce yourself good and have a good tone, have a kind of modulation. Do not be unnatural and do not overdo your things. Be natural, communicate very well and have a very, very, very prospectful career at your office and have a healthy life and wish you good luck in your personal life too. And happy voicing.